Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Summer School. Today, we are here with Layni Becker, photography. What a mouthful, but honestly, you can just call her Layni Becker. She is amazing, super fun, cinematic, kind of just like a very breath of fresh air to the industry kind of photographer. And I'm really excited to dive into all of it. But before we get going, life updates. I've had a sinus infection for like 2 weeks, and we've just had pink eye run through our family. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry if I look like I'm dying half the time, but the podcast will go on. So I'm really excited. Layni, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? And after that, we'll dive into something fun that we will both be a part of that's coming up soon.
I'm so excited about that. Yeah. So, like Summer said, my name is Laney. I am, not that it's important, but I'm from Indiana. I've lived a lot of places. I currently live in Colorado. I met a boy, and so I moved here.
So fun.
Yeah. So I genuinely have loved photography since I was 5. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. Didn't know what it could look like and had this really deep spiritual battle with fear. Lots of issues and hard things there, but had to work through that in order to get to where I'm currently at. And yeah, it's just been a crazy journey. I officially started my business in 2019. And I feel like in COVID actually was when my business really took off for me personally. Backtrack. I went to college for 2 years and then I went to a Bible college in California and I failed. And so my dad was like, hey, move home. I'll buy you your dream camera. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had to pay him for it, but he was going to buy it for me. And then I was going to pay him the money back off of the shoots that I was doing. So I started at $30 in Indiana. I was just doing family shoots and all of the things. And then COVID happened. And I don't know. I have always loved movies. That's just been my thing. And maybe not even good movies. I love Tinkerbell. I love Toy Story. I love those are good movies, but good films that are wow, this was made by a good filmmaker. Still really getting into learning a lot about those, but I just have always loved movies and I've always loved living my life like a movie. That's always been I feel like what I've said about my life since I was in middle school. And so COVID felt like a movie, in every way. Some people had a really great COVID experience. Some people obviously lost people. Some people really struggled. I mean, there was so much that happened, but cannot deny the fact that it felt like a movie that universally every single person in the world was all dealing with the same root of problem, which was mind-blowing to me. And so I wanted to find a way to be able to capture that. And so I would call my friends, or I grew up in a really small town in Indiana, so I knew a lot of people, family friends, my own friends, whatever. And I would call and I'd be like, hi, can I come over to your house and shoot you through your window? And so I would go over to people's houses and I would stand in their yard and I would shoot their life in COVID of whatever that looks like through their window.
Wow.
And I have a picture of my grandparents holding toilet paper or wearing masks, just to be able to remember this time of life was very important to me. And so I felt through that, I really discovered my style a little more than I had in 2019. And I was like, oh, I really love this movie aspect storytelling vibe. And then I moved to Florida and I was like, oh, I'm going to go so hard with my business. It's going to be so fun, whatever. I was going through a breakup and that was really hard. And then I met a stupid boy who made me look at love weird. It was a whole thing. Anyway, all to say, I quit photography.
Oh, no.
For about a year. That was really difficult. And I was contracted to a lot of weddings, so I was doing those, but I was mentally in one of the hardest places I think I'd ever been. And so I would go to open my computer to edit and I would just start bawling my eyes out. And I just couldn't do it. And that was really, really hard. And I was sitting in my room and God spoke to me really clearly and was like, hey, Lainey, so you need to go edit these. And I was like, hey, so I can't because I'm depressed and everything makes me sad about it. And I actually hate photography. The one thing I had loved since I was 5 years old, I genuinely hated with every single fiber in my being. And that was really hard. And I just felt God speak to me and was like, Philippians 4:13, like, you can do this through me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to barter with you here. If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to finish all of these in like a month, then I need to love it. And
Mm.
then I don't know. I went home back to, I was living in West Palm Beach at the time. And I just had this like flood of inspiration just like go over me. And I messaged a bunch of my friends and it's like, hi, would you model for me? Da, 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 da. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And so one of my friends, it's actually a shoot that I feel like I'm very known for. She's sitting on top of a car. It's nighttime. There's clouds above them, and he's looking at her. They modeled for me, and I think any other time I would have like quit at sunset and been like, okay,
Mm.
like we did it, whatever. And but there was this really pretty street lamp, and I've always loved street lamps. I don't know why. I just always have. And La La Land's my favorite movie, so maybe that was it. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's go shoot with a street lamp. And so I was really, that shoot, it was September of 2022. I was pushing myself out of my comfort zone to shoot at night, which is something I had never done before. And I loved it. And
Mm.
I remember like during the shoot, I started sobbing because we were listening to the Up theme song, which is also my favorite. And like she was taking like a fake film photo of him and he was like picking a flower for her. And it was one of those moments that I was like holding my camera and then I like put it down and I just started crying. So I was like, I'm
Mm.
doing this again. Like I haven't picked up my camera for fun in 8 months and I'm like doing this again. And it was wild. And then I went home and I like edited them immediately and I just like started playing with color, not in the same way that I do now by any means, but like getting myself a little bit more to the comfort zone of like, what if I didn't edit this with a really warm preset like everyone is doing right now and what everyone does when you first start? At least I did. Like anagram presets, easy. Warm, love it. And they're beautiful. And it was great. But it didn't feel like me. And so when I
Mm.
started like playing a lot with the blues more, especially like nighttime, because I was like, okay, why am I making this night sky warm? That doesn't make any sense to the feeling of what this felt like. We had the most beautiful blue clouds at night. Like it was blue hour. I want this to feel like blue hour. And
Yeah.
so I remember just like editing those, posting on my story, which I hadn't done in months for like something fun. And I was like, I think I'm developing my style again. Like it took me a year to quit. And then I like re-picked up that like, no, I want this to feel like a movie. And so that's kind of when I was like, what if I just went in with this idea again of like movie, not in the same way it was for COVID, but life feeling like a movie and color grading like a movie and making this like I want people to look at it and be like, oh, I was there and I felt
Yeah.
everything they felt. And so that was kind of my plan. And then I was decided I was like, I'm going to be the brokest I've ever been and I'm going to leave Florida because a lot of things were happening. And I moved back home to Indiana to live with my parents and travel. I was going to Hawaii for a whole month. And I was like, well, I want to shoot here, but I don't want this to be a job again. So it's my hobby. This is my hobby. So I was like, $100. So I started charging $100 on the island. And I just did like some really fun shoots that also felt like me. And then I went through a moment of like, I want people to know who I am. Like, I want to be known. And I just felt God speak to me very clearly of like, Lainey, you didn't start this business for people to know you. You did it for people
Mm.
to know me. So I was like, oh, okay, you're right. So I prayed and I was like, okay, God, if this is supposed to be something, grow it to be something. If you want to kill my business fully, completely kill it. And I had met Austin and I knew that I was going to move to Colorado. And I was like, well, I hate working. So like I probably need to start doing this again as a job and like working normal. Like I hate working. Like I used to work at Cracker Barrel, hated it, worked at Arby's, hated it. Like I don't like normal jobs. They suck. Or office jobs? No. Anyway, so I did a shoot with some of his really good friends and I posted a reel of it and then it went like semi-viral. And then the next one I posted, it was 3 days after I said this prayer. The next one I posted went semi-viral and the next one
Mm.
did as well. And then I got my first like big international inquiry of like, hey, my girlfriend loves your work. I'm proposing in Japan. She says it has to be you. So you're coming to Japan. And I was like, okay, cool. And it just like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people's story with like, oh, I started a photography business. Like they were intentional on when it started. I like quit mine and never really had intention of like picking it back up to be a business again. And then it just happened. And I just was like, oh, here I am doing this again. I don't know what to do with this. And it was really cool. And like, I remember I really wanted to go to New York for a month and just create. And one of my best friends from college got an opportunity to go live in New York. And she was like, hey, will you come with me? And I was like, yeah. And so I did that. And then I did a lot of shoots while I was over there. My one best friend moved to Europe and I was like, I want to do a bunch of shoots here. And so I just started shooting. Like no one paid me. I went up to random people and I was like, hi, I have my camera. Will you model for me for 15 minutes? Or like go up to a cute couple and I'm like, hi, you guys are cute. Can I have your Instagram? Would you model for me sometime this week if we're like still going to be in Florence at the same time? And then I told myself like, okay, next year I want to come back with booked shoots. And so that was 2 years ago. And so last year I went back to Europe with 6 booked shoots. And so it was just like very, I don't know, it's very cool. And I'm very passionate about, if we want to talk about it, of just like shooting for fun and why that's so important and lighting your soul on fire and like finding your style and like why you love this. Like so much of my life has been like, I want to live like a movie. And so it makes so much sense that that is what my work portrays. I think so much of who we are is in our work without even like realizing it. And I just think that's a cool thing. Well, I've been yapping, but that's me and how I got here.
I love it. Well, before we yap on, you kind of dove into your style and all the fun things. And I feel like cinematic storytelling, film, all of this is a very like pivotal part of your journey and who you are as a person. All of that to say you have something called Camp Cinematic coming up. You should tell us about that before we dive into all the things, because now that people know who you are, tell them about the event that they should come to.
I am so excited about this. So I host a retreat with Peyton Hayes. That's her Instagram handle, at Peyton Hayes. She's incredible and I love her and she's just a great human being, but also incredibly talented. We hosted a photography retreat last year in Utah. Our brand company, whatever you want to call it, is called the Cinematic Experience. And so we were on a call this year and we were like, hey, what can we do that we feel like is so different? That's not just like your normal photography retreat. And we were just like talking about ideas, and I had like kind of been thinking of a summer camp a little bit, but on a very small scale. And then Peyton goes, hey, what if we did like a huge summer camp? Like I'm talking 50 people, we rented out a camp. And I was like, oh, yeah. And like, I don't know, maybe that should have taken a little more thought on both of our ends, but we were like, let's do it. I think we can do this. And my dad is a pastor. And so I've been going to church camp since I was like 2 years old, and he has been like leading the camp. And so I have like seen the back ends of what it means to lead a summer camp. And I just think it's such a pivotal moment in your life. Like even as an adult, I think being able to experience like summer camp for what it is like just such a cool thing. I remember like, and I want to do it at our camp, but there was like this thing at my church camp that my dad would like hide Al and Lenny, and you'd like have to find them on campus, and then you would like get more points for your color team. And so like I would love to have color wars and like hide and seek for things, and like Peyton really wants a ropes course. We're trying to figure that out. Anyway, all to say, awesome fun things. So basically the premise of what it is this huge summer camp for photographers, where we rented out a camp in Mendocino, California, so in the Redwoods. The camp is beautiful. The people who own it are so cool. Their whole team is really cool. It's so kind. And they have like 10 hiking trails on site, which is so cool. And there's like really nice cabins. It's awesome. And so on top of obviously like all coming together and getting that community and hanging out, we're hiring 3 educators that are not just Peyton and I. So Peyton and I are also speaking, but then we have Summer. Yay! We have Tess Gearhart and we have Wild Abby Photos. All incredible people. Abby filmed our retreat last year. We would love for her to film it this year, but she's busy. But she also spoke at it last year, and she's just incredible. And she's just going to go over color and lifestyle, and it's just really, really cool. On top of that, we also have like 5, shoots, 6 shoots.
So fun.
I'm forgetting. I can't remember right now. I think we have 5 shoots and then 2 optional shoots. The 2 optional shoots are either they're at the same time, so you'd have to pick which one you wanted to go. It's either an elopement or it's a regular couple shoot. So that'll be really, really cool. Our shoot concepts are so much fun. Something that was really important to both of us as well was like, okay, how can we show, I'm not saying this word correctly, but versatility? Austin said it too, so did you. How can we show that being in one location? And so we really tried to like make our shoot concepts to be this still idea of like camp, but all like different stories. Ideally kind of in my head, and so not going to be able to like show this, but this is how it's making sense in my head, is like all of these people are attending camp and this is all their like different stories. Like one couple's getting married. One couple's like really romantic and loves each other and like really just has this vintage vibe. And so like there's a vintage beach shoot. One couple's like really emo and just like they don't want to be by anyone. And so we're doing like a rock, gothic, punk rock shoot that we're going to decorate like the whole room to just be covered in like 2000s posters. So we have awesome educators. We have a really cool camp. We have really fun shoots and all foods included, which is so fun too. We're offering 3 different tickets. I think still, yes, we have limited availability for, the glamping tent ticket. The camp offers like glamping tents, which is really cool. They'd still have like 3 beds, but they're big. So you'd still be sharing technically, but if you wanted your own, you could maybe request that for a little higher price. And then you can like bring your own tent if you want. So they have a meadow that they're offering.
Is anyone doing that?
Yeah. We had
so fun.
Like 12 applications say that they wanted to bring their own tent. And so we picked like 7 of those, but we still have some because people have dropped out. Anyway, all to say, so there's, you can bring your own tent. You can hang out. We're going to figure out how to charge things, whether that's like charge it in your friend's cabin, charge it, most likely my boyfriend's car will be there and he has a huge battery. Whatever it is, we're going to charge our things. And then what's also like just so important to both of us too is like creating a space where everyone is just comfortable and happy.
Yeah.
And so obviously 50 people is a lot. That's a lot of people. And we're doing a shoot too that's based around Footloose, which is so fun, with like a very, very, very experienced model couple, Claire and Jordan. They're awesome. Cool. And it's going to be everyone, which is very like a lot. So when I mean that, I mean like even the photographers are going to be models in it, because I really love the idea of like a huge dance party and then focusing on 2 couple, like 1 couple, 2 people. But we're going to split off in groups and all of those things. And so, so that's obviously a lot. And so like creating spaces also for introverts of like, hey, this specific room is available from this time to this time of just complete silence, go and recharge. And like in the application, we have like a question of like, how do you recharge your batteries? And so we're really trying to also like make this an environment that just you feel calm in and that you're happy in. And like the biggest thing too is just like healing our inner child. And so like we're going to do crafts. And I'm going to lead a Bible study if that's interesting to anyone. And Peyton's going to do yoga, and we're going to have campfires, and we're going to have s'mores. And the other part that I totally forgot to mention, which is incredibly important, is obviously, Laney, there's 50 people here. How are we going to shoot with that many people? We have incredible camp counselors who are also really incredible photographers in the industry. We have Grace, Nicole, Natalie. She's one of my best friends, has been for so many years, and I can't say her last name. Lenong, Tucker, and Sasha. Anyway, they're incredible. And so we'll be splitting into groups, and you'll be going with your camp counselor, and Peyton and I will be like making a shot list so that everyone has similar content, but still different content. Because I think that's also really important when it comes to going to a photographer retreat, is everyone just has the same content. It's like, well, that's not fun. So you'll be shooting on different days. So the lighting could be different. You could get rain. The other person couldn't. Like it could be, which is sad, but could be cool. And so having different content is super important. We have schedules. Everyone will get a schedule of like, hey, you're in group 1. This is where you need to be at this time. Everything will be completely organized. We're super, super excited about it. And something too that I just think, like, I attended my first photography retreat in 2020. It was in Moab, Utah. It was awesome. And it was so cool. And I think photography retreats are so helpful and so cool. But what I think about this one that makes it even more helpful on the community side is, like, to the people who are listening, if you've been to a retreat before, it can be hard sometimes to go to a retreat of 8 people and then be like, I need to fit in. Like, how can I fit in here?
Yeah.
And then kind of feel like it just unfortunately happens, and it's not malicious. It's not anything that happens, just people that draw to people differently. It becomes kind of cliquey, and it can become very hard of just like, well, I feel left out. Well, there's 50 people there. You have so many options. Like, I promise you would find at least one person that you would click with. And so, yeah, I think that I definitely wish there would have been something like this when I was first starting out. And that's something too that Peyton and I really want to, like, stress so much, is that this is not just for photographers who have been doing this for like 10 years, 8 years. Like, this is also for people who've never picked up a camera before and want to. Like, what a great place to start. And like Peyton was joking the other day, she's like, why would you go to college for photography when you could come to Camp Cinematic? And I was like, no, you're right. Like, because it's not even just like, yeah, here's education, but there's hand-on shooting. There's so many things there that are like, yeah, this would give you a great platform to like jump into and just start, and then have so much content for your portfolio, and cool content, not like lame. It's going to be great. Like, Peyton and I pay attention a lot to like color harmony groups, and when it comes to like props and making sure like, okay, this purple goes well with this color because of this. And so being really intentional with every single thing we're doing, and like not just picking models that are just like, oh, they're pretty. Like, no, we picked people that we felt like they fit our vision exactly. And so it's going to be awesome. I'm going on and on and on about it, but I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. And yeah, so we'd love for you to be there. We have some tickets available, and you can apply in my Instagram bio, Peyton's Instagram bio, and the Cinematic Experience Instagram bio as well. And we just do application just so we can read your life and why you want to be there and all of the fun things. So please come. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, it's also in September. September 15th to the 20th.
Amazing. I'm so excited. I'm genuinely so stoked. I'm teaching at a lot of things this year. Wow. I feel like, I don't know, it just feels like this year's like the year of teaching. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I'm really excited because it is really unique. It's not just a typical workshop. I'm stoked to be there. I was telling Laney when she originally reached out to me, I was like, oh, I had something not at all the same, but kind of similar in my mind. We had summer camp last year, just called summer camp, like summer school, summer camp, it made sense. And it was fun. Definitely smaller, but similar idea in some ways. Like, we had less stress on shoots and more, I just wanted people to just get together and be able to just relax during the summer, take some time off, relax at the pool, talk about art, see how they could get inspired. And so I don't think we're necessarily, I have no idea. I could walk this back in a month or two. I don't think we're having a summer camp this year. So everyone, come to Camp Cinematic. It's going to be a blast. With baby, I would rather teach at other people's things than host our own this year, but you never know. Maybe we'll have a fall camp in October or something. I think summer camp also sounds fun when like you can roast s'mores and stuff, So maybe we'll have it again. But yeah, what did we do? Like vision boards and emulsion lifts, just hands-on arts and crafts kind of stuff. And I know that's going to be a similar vibe at Camp Cinematic. So I'm really excited because it was already something I was kind of passionate about. And I just think it'll be a good time. I mean, I'm stoked. I know for me, retreats and workshops are such a good space outside of the shoots, outside of the teachers, just being together with that large of a group of like-minded individuals. The things you're going to learn from the person I don't know if people are doing this at Camp Cinematic, but like sharing a bunk with, or sharing a bed with, or sharing a room with, whatever it might be. It might not even be a teacher. It might not be Laney or me. It might not be a cool shoot. It might literally be the person you're sharing the room with that you get the most wisdom from. And that wisdom is invaluable. Like, you could not put a price tag on some of the things you're going to learn from just being around like-minded creatives for such a like immersive experience, not just oh, I'm getting coffee with a photographer friend. Like, no, when you're just like not stuck, but like when you're just at camp, sharing a bunk with someone like that.
We trapped you.
Yeah. The stuff you're going to learn is incredible because your attention is so dialed and focused in. So anyways, guys, go join. It'll be so fun. You'll get to hang out with me. I think I'm going to be there the whole time. So that'll be a blast. And yeah, I'll get to shoot with all of you. That'll be so fun. But yeah, I'll be teaching, I think, on businessy things. So bring a journal. Let's go. And I'm excited. I think I'm going to learn a lot from everyone as well. So it'll be a good time. But let's dive into a little bit about your story, Lainey, and how you got into this kind of cinematic world. I know you said you like movies. Your editing style is very unique for this industry. You don't necessarily even shoot weddings at all anymore. No. I know you mentioned that you did. Yeah. You mostly only really do couple shoots now, which is super unique. So just tell us a little bit about that evolution. Like, what draws you to couples? And I do want to dive into your editing as well eventually.
Yeah. That's a really good question. I think it's interesting. I have been boy crazy my whole life, mainly. Since I had like my first boyfriend in kindergarten. And like, that felt very normal to me. I found out as I grow up, that's not normal for a lot of people. But I don't know. I always had crushes. It's just always been a thing. And my parents started dating in 7th grade. They met at 2 years old. In 2nd grade, my mom was like, I pick him. And my dad was going through like a very hard thing in life. And they were at church camp, actually. Maybe you'll meet your soulmate. There you go. There's another thing. Camp cinematic. They were at church camp, and my dad God spoke to my dad very clearly and was like, hey, look at Autumn differently. Like, she's not just your friend. And so that was in 7th grade. And so then they started dating, and they just have since now. I think they're on their like 30th wedding anniversary. I could be so wrong. I don't remember. They got married at 21, had me at 22. Wow. Anyway, so, and they're like best friends. And so this has been modeled to me my entire life. And I think that also probably had a part to do with like, I want to be in love even at like kindergarten. I loved so much the fact that like my parents were each other's special person. And I wanted that. I've always wanted that. And so I've always been drawn to that of just like, wow, how cool is it that like, I mean, dating in itself is weird. Like, it's a weird thing. But like, how cool is it once you pick your person of like, wow, you're my one special person, like to do the rest of my life with, like, that is you. And there's obviously so many things that come with that. It's like super romanticized. It's also like it can get really low and there can be really hard times, and like, but that doesn't mean that that's bad. Like there's so much I've learned about love as I've gotten older and the things that I've gone through, but like I just think it's very cool. Like I've always just been so drawn to like just people being in love. I've always like tried to matchmake people. It's just, it's not something that I feel like I genuinely was born with it. And modeled to me by my parents, I guess. And so I remember when I first was starting photography, like as a business, I would before that I would just do like portrait photos with my friends, and we would just like have fun. And like my mom also really loves to take photos, but she's really bad at it. But like I have so many photos of my childhood, probably every single day. And like I remember my mom would she was very involved in me and my friends' lives, and she'd be like, hey, have all your friends come over and you guys can model in the garage. And so I have all these like random photos of me and my friends wearing weird outfits, modeling in our garage with weird poses. And so that's kind of what I like did when I first was starting photography. I would just like go up to my friends and be like, hi, model for me, whatever. And then I remember I got a couple inquiry, and I remember being so scared because I was like, that's so different. Like 2 people? How am I supposed to pose 2 people? It's wild because now I'm like, I don't know how to pose one person. Like now I don't know how to do portraits, but couples all day. But at the time it was like, this is very scary. Like this is a new thing that I've never done before. And so I did it, and it was so fun. I remember being like, I really, really enjoyed that. And I don't know, it just like opened it up for me a little differently. And then I think too, like with the wedding world, I think when you realize, okay, I love couples photography, what is the next goal to be
Mm,
successful? That's weddings. And so if you're listening to this and like that's you, ask yourself that question if it's true, or if it's just
mm,
like this is what society is doing, and like wedding photographers make it look so glamorous. Like why would I not want to do that all the time? Like I get to party and shoot and get paid. Like that's a dream. And it is if you can handle it. For me personally, it burnt me out because I was just doing
mm,
it so much and there was no creativity in it for me, especially because like at the time I was just in Indiana. So it's just like Indiana barn weddings.
mm,
Which like no hate against them, but like they're not setting my creative soul on fire. And so I do weddings. I do maybe like 1 to 3 a year,
mm,
depending on how I'm feeling. But it has to be like a couple that I feel really connected with and like their vision for their day that I'm just absolutely obsessed with and like I can connect to, that I'm not going to feel burnt out in that. And so yeah, ask yourself like, hey, is this something I actually want to do, or is this just what everyone's doing and that seems really cool? And so yeah, after I did that, I got very burnt out. And then I remember too, like I was living in Florida in a very stupid situationship and it was sucking the life out of me and I was
mm,
not myself and it was really, really awful. And but all of my friends knew how like desperately I wanted to be in love and how desperately I just like wanted my person. And I remember my friend Paris, she told me, she was like, she saw my work one day because that's when I decided to like re-pick up photography. And she was like, Lainey,
mm,
I don't think your romantic heart is your weakness. Like, I think it's actually your strength in your art. And
mm.
I started to like put that together with like the specific photo she was talking about. And I was like, you're right. Like, yes, obviously anyone can pick up a camera and be like, not anyone, but well, anyone can pick up a camera. But like it takes obviously you have to like learn composition and all the things, but people can do that and you can shoot and you're like, wow, this is a great photo. I think where my strength in my art comes from is being so obsessed with love and
Mm,
genuinely since I was little. And so that emotion of like wanting to get into their minds and be like, what do you think about each other? And why do you think this? And what do you do? And just like being able to be with people that are in love. Just like, I don't know. I love it.
mm.
I love it. It's so fun for me. But yeah, I'm also have ADHD and focusing issues. And so lately I've been like, maybe I want to get back into portraits. I just want to create art, whatever that looks
Yeah.
like. And so my original calling has always been like missions through photography. So that's probably coming soon. Might transition out of couples for just a little bit, but it's my heart and always has been. And
Yeah.
I think too, like on a biblical standpoint, um, I mean, God said like the greatest of this is love. And so like what a gift it is to be able to capture the most special thing in the world.
Mm.
So that's just cool. And I
Yeah.
like it. So that's why I like couples.
I love it. Where do you feel like you're finding some of your inspiration for your shoots? Like your shoots are really interesting. They're very different. I know you said you like movies, so maybe that's where you're finding some of it. What do you feel like kind of led you to some of those iconic shoots? Maybe a lot of people listening are like obsessed with.
Yeah. Hmm. It's a good question. I mean, movies is a huge one. Um, I think too, just like life in general.
Mm,
Like I know a shoot that I'm known for, and I only know that I'm known for this because I asked on Instagram the other day, like, what shoot am I known for? And a bunch of people said this specific shoot, which was like nighttime in the snow in the middle of the
mm,
street. And I I mean, I grew up in Indiana, so like I the snow a lot. And I mean, I think something too. I mean, I really have romanticized my life ever since.
mm.
I mean, I think I was 10. Like, I remember specifically being like, why are people saying life sucks? Like, why? Like,
Yeah.
life is so fun. And like, I remember, I mean, I grew up in Indiana, so like, there's not much to do. But my best friend and I, we'd go to Walmart and for fun, which I think any Midwest kid can relate to. And we'd go to Walmart for fun and we would take photos with all of these random things. I have like a picture of me sitting on a chair holding like a random toy thing. And we're like, just like on our iPod that we took. But like that was fun, like being able to
Mm,
romanticize that and be like, no, this isn't just me sitting, walking around Walmart. No, what if we romanticize this Walmart trip into being something more that like maybe you would see in a movie? And
Mm.
so I think normal life of like, especially like, and just light and certain things of like when I was just sitting in my room and I saw it like snowing at night and I was like, oh my gosh, like just imagine this. And being able to just take things that have already just like even happened in your life. Like I think something that's so cool about what directors do, they put themselves into their own art without
Yeah.
even like knowing. Like so many directors are like, oh, I used this specific song because this was my wife and I's song, or like, oh, I used this color for this because this meant this to me. And so, like, as photographers, why aren't we doing the same thing? And so,
Mm.
there's so much of my work too, I feel like that has me in it, whether that was like a past date with someone that I went on that I like took inspiration from, or like Austin and I, like, we do fun things. And I've like taken things of our life and like how we fell in love and I've put that into like my own shoots as well that no one would know and they don't need to
Yeah.
know because it's important to me. Um, but I think that's, yeah, I think that's where like being a true artist comes from, is like putting
Mm.
your own self in your own art. That's like it's vulnerable, but it's
Mm.
very cool. And yeah, I mean, movies obviously too. Like, I mean, there's so many. La La Land's my number one inspiration for most things. And yeah, I think just like being very aware of your life and what you're doing in your life and the things that you love.
Mm.
And like it's silly, but like lately my favorite thing has been laying in the sun. I love
Mm.
it. That's so fun to me. What if I like took that concept of the thing that I'm enjoying right now and I turned that into a shoot? What could that
Yeah.
look like? And that could be so many things. I mean, you could do like sprinklers, you could do like add some color in there. So throw some strawberries laying in the sun, just like, and trying new things with that. And yeah, so I think just taking things of your own life and being like, okay, I love this. Why do I love this? Let me put this into my own, um, my style and create something. I think music too.
Mm.
I've been doing this since I was in high school, where I would do it with boys I had crushes on. I would listen to a song and I'd be like, what do I see in this
Mm.
like scene? And then I would ask them, because I'm like, if they weren't going to have a romantic answer, I'm not interested in you. You're a boring human being. And so I would ask them and be like, okay, what do you see here? And they would either give a really great answer or a really stupid answer. And so I have been doing that with my work a lot, especially on a plane. Like,
Yeah.
I know so many of us travel. It hits so different if you're listening to like a playlist on the plane. And I just had this great idea for a shoot 4 weeks ago, I think, something like that. Where I was listening to a song on a plane and I was like, oh my gosh, this whole thing just came to me. And so I think doing that exercise too. And my friend Abby, the one that's going to speak at Camp Cinematic, she did this exercise too at the cinematic experience, but she did it in a different way that I've never thought of before, which I
Mm.
really loved. She was like, okay, close your eyes, picture a scene. What colors are you seeing? And so
Mm.
that has been really fun to like also interpret into like, okay, what's happening in the scene? Okay, now what colors are happening in the scene? Um, and so that's, yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we can like take inspiration from for our own shoots. And
Mm.
I think, especially in a world of like copying and how like that has just become unfortunately a trend, and like, oh well, it worked for them and this shoot was really cool, I want to do it. Why? Like, don't you want something that's your own, that you created from your own brain, that's like, oh yeah, I'm in that, like that is me. Like even right now, like I'm looking outside, it's Austin's house, but there's like dandelions, so they're yellow, and then there's like a fire pit and there's just some chairs around it. Like I'm picturing like a whole scene in my head. And so I
Mm.
think just being able to be so aware of your life, like when you're just walking around on the street and just like seeing something that just catches your eye of like, okay, what can I, how can I make that a story, how can I make that a movie? And I think also what comes with shooting like a movie is also learning like cinematic compositions. And if you want to do all of that, like Shot Deck is great. I've learned so much of my things from Shot Deck on YouTube. They go over like, you know, shot framing, shot sizes, camera angles,
Mm.
composition, like everything. It has just been so helpful when it comes to like, okay, I want to take the photographer hat off and I want to put a director's hat on. How do
Mm.
I shoot like a director? And so that's been really fun. I'm rambling, but
No,
I'm
it was so
passionate about
fun.
it.
There was literally so many things that popped into my mind, and I should have somehow written them down, but I didn't want to like lose focus. And now I'm like, oh my God, what even popped into my brain? But there was literally so many things. I was like, I should ask a question on this. I should ask a question on this. But I think one thing that stood out to me, and hopefully is staying out to all of you, is like making magic with the mundane. Like,
Yeah.
and one thing that also stood out was when you're saying people need to be able to kind of just like see what's around them and be aware, you know? That awareness also comes with like peace. Like you need to be at peace within yourself
Yes.
to be able to notice those things in your life. If you're running on overdrive and you're constantly burnt out or just moving too fast, I think a lot of photographers, they book too many things. They get so overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, you're not going to notice those kind of things in
Yep.
your life. Honestly, I mean, maybe you can, but I think for most of us, it's going to be hard to romanticize your life and notice your surroundings in an artistic and creative way when you're running in like super speed and you're just constantly like, what is even going on? So I feel like coming with that probably comes with like boundaries and, you know, self work and self discovery and doing
Oh, for
things
sure.
that, you know, are kind of helping heal who you are as a person. That way you can be your best photographer. And I know you do have good kind of boundaries with some of that stuff. So what do you do kind of in your personal life that's helping
Yeah.
you be in a space that's helping you then be inspired, you know?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. Before you get into that, I wanted to say something when you said magic
Do
out of the
it.
mundane. One of my favorite movies, trigger warning, if you've like been in a domestic violence relationship or something, don't watch it or watch it with the idea of trigger warning. It's called Waves. It's an A24 film.
Mm.
It is beautiful. And I used to do this thing called Movie Monday where we basically would go over a movie and we would discuss it, and it was like very fun. And so when I was doing research on this movie, one of the things the director said was basically like, we wanted to create art out of nothing. And that is what they did. Like this movie, it's mind blowing because I think so much of what they used to create the art was colors specifically. It's like it's based in Florida, so it's like pretty, but like like the one pretty scene maybe that's like this is a great location would maybe be like the ocean. Other than that, like they're shooting in a house. There's a scene with a sprinkler, which is really cool. But like again, you can create that. And so much of what they did was basically like, let's just take nothing. And like and it honestly looks like a low budget film, but it isn't. Like, well, it doesn't look like one. It could be one. Like where's the cost, where's anything to make this like wow, but no, they just literally went off of their story and color. Like the biggest thing that grabbed my attention when watching the movie was just color. If it was not like and not even like bold colors, like very oversaturated in a way that's almost like, ooh, that feels like a lot, but like it made you feel, because when you start like studying color theory and like you learn, okay, like what does blue mean, what does green mean, what does red mean, and then you're like taking that while watching the movie, you're like, wow, I cannot believe they made me feel that by just watching it with this color. And so yeah, like one of my favorite shoots that I did was here at Austin's house, which like just show a little bit. Here's a table and here's a hallway thing, and that's it. And one of my favorite shoots I've ever done was here. I grabbed a fog machine and I grabbed a lamp and I put it in the corner, and it was my friend's pregnancy announcement photos. And I created some of my favorite art that I've ever made just based off of the lamp, the fog machine, and this window. And so I think being able to like take yourself out of your comfort zone fully, like I've had a lot of questions, I think, of like, I know you shoot a lot at night. Isn't that daunting? Or like you shoot some of this. Like, how do you do that? I'm like, just try it. Like
Yeah.
in my mind, it doesn't feel hard to just try it. Obviously, don't book it as a paid shoot if you've never done it. But like ask your friends, hey, I have this really fun idea. I have no idea if it's gonna work. I want to try something completely out of my comfort zone. What do you say? Will you model for me? And just like literally get yourself out of the box. I think something I try to ask myself a lot, I don't anymore because I'm in my peace era, but something I used to ask myself a lot was like, how can I make my life harder in this specific shoot? So like if something comes to my mind of like, oh, that would be a really good shot. Okay, what if I took 2 seconds to like take it one step further to be like, okay, what could I do that would make it just a little better? That's not just like the first thing that came to my mind. So yeah, that's making art of the mundane. Your original question was what, Summer?
Well, I feel like now I don't even want to go to it.
Oh,
But
my
it was
work-life
just
balance.
self-care, work-life
Yeah.
balance, self-discovery, you have to be doing that kind of stuff to even, in my opinion, to notice the mundane. You have to have the like brain space to even be noticing those kinds of things in an artistic way.
100%.
Or you're like really depressed. It's one or the other. Like
Yes.
you're noticing it because you're not okay,
Yep.
or you're noticing it because you have found that inner peace to be aware of those kind of things. I don't think
Yeah.
there's in between. When you're just in like business mode, grind, run, you don't have enough free time and
No.
mental space to be aware
Yeah.
of the mundane. And so I know, because I know you, that you do a lot of inner work.
Yeah.
And I think for anyone listening, maybe this is your sign that you need to do some too. So anyways, tell us a little bit about that. But
Yeah.
before, I want you to quickly tell us just a little bit about, because I know I'm going to forget to ask it and we won't forget to ask about the inner work. I want you to quickly tell us like what your favorite camera and lens is when you do these shoots.
So that's something that I would love to like really
You
dive
want to
more.
actually dive into that? Let's do the inner work and then the gear.
No, sorry. I more mean like that answer is not hard.
Okay.
I just have R5 and a 24-70, but I would, and that's all I shoot on. I
Easy.
would love to like really dive into like learning more about different cameras. And like, I mean, obviously Tucker talked about it and he texts to me about it all the time. And he's like, Laney, you're burnt out sometimes because you're just shooting with the same thing. I'm like, yeah, but I'm broke. So I'm not going to just go buy a new camera. But I like really want to dive into film. There's a lot of things that I want to learn, but I also am not someone that's just like gonna half-ass something and just be like, oh, okay, well, like this is this and I just did it and whatever. I want to like take the time to learn it, and I don't have that right now.
I feel like it goes to show though you can make insane work with something simple. You don't need anything crazy. One lens, one camera, go get it done. That's, and I think I also kind of knew that about you, so that's why I wanted to ask while we were talking about the creative side. But yeah, the inner work, what do you feel like has been helping you the most stay inspired and stay creative recently? What do you feel like people need to do to kind of get in this mindset of being aware of the everyday, inspiration?
I love the current trend that's going around that's like propaganda I'm not falling for.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm about to give you. I think also before I get into that, like when Summer was saying like you're either really depressed and you're noticing everything or you're really at peace and you're noticing everything, I can speak on both of those. Last year, I think I went through this like very, very deep depression that I like couldn't get out of. And the only thing that felt like the only thing I had was photography, because it was what everyone was knowing me for. And so everyone just being like, oh, Laney, you're a great photographer, whatever. Of course, that's the only thing I'm also going to think of that then like not manifested itself maybe in my brain as like, this is all I'm known for and this is all I know how to be. And so like, I feel like Austin and I's relationship kind of struggled a little bit. I don't feel like I was a good girlfriend. I don't feel like I was a good friend. I don't feel like I was like great to my family. I wasn't mean by any at all. I just was a shell of a human. And so like there was no capacity for me to be anything else other than just like Laney the photographer. And so I guess also like if you're listening to this and that's something you're struggling with of like my identity is being a photographer, okay, that's an issue. There should be so many things about yourself that you know that like if someone were to ask you the question, hey, what do you love besides this? You could answer so quickly. I couldn't answer that last year. I was like, oh, I used to have all of these hobbies and now I have nothing. And this is the only thing I have. And of course I was noticing everything because it's the only thing my brain could think of 24/7. I felt like I couldn't have a conversation with someone without talking about photography. I felt like everyone's first thing to me was always like, oh my gosh, Lady the World Traveler, do you have any fun shoots coming up? Like no one knew anything about me and that wasn't anyone's fault. That was
Lainey,
besides
I went
myself.
through the same exact thing. I went through the same thing where I felt like everyone, I think it also has to do, I think, with social media in some capacity, where you feel like everyone, you're giving a piece of yourself. But when I used to talk about social media, I used to like have a mental health talk because I think most people aren't prepared for being known. And I went through it. The only struggle I've ever had with social media was that I felt like everyone knew me, but no one knew me. I didn't have the community I needed to be known in that capacity in my personal life outside of photography. And it was just this wild awakening of like, everyone knows me, but no one actually knows me. Like, they all
Yeah.
think they know me,
Yeah.
but I needed those people in my personal life. And yeah, that was, I think, like 4 years ago. I was going through a breakup and I had like no friends, but everyone just assumed I had all these friends. Everyone
Yep.
assumed life was great because you're not, I guess you can be vulnerable online these days, but I wasn't gonna like spill those kind of beans.
Yeah.
The business world did not need to know about my breakup and all the things. But I went through something really similar where it was hard because there was so much, I gave so much to the online world, I
Yeah.
guess. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what yours was, but it sounds so similar. It was like this, we all want to be known, but I think you need to do that work to have that be separate of the thing that's making
100%.
you money.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And I think too, like I said this before we started talking, but like obviously if everyone's commenting on your work, if you're getting all of these followers, if everyone's
Mhm.
saying things to you in person, it's gonna go to your head. We're just human.
Mhm.
It's just gonna happen. And so that was also happening to where then I
Mm.
started to feel like my humility was leaving me.
Mm.
And I think something as humans that we all need deeply is like deep humility,
Yeah.
to be able to be a good friend to our people. And that was something that just wasn't existing for me. And
Mm.
so yeah, it was a very very challenging thing. And I think too, like when I go into like the propaganda I'm not falling for, the biggest one is traveling. Like
Mm.
I will still travel, obviously. Like I love to see the world and it's something that I think is just so cool and so fun. But I think like we're all human. And so like take a step to something I also had to like really ask myself is like, would I go on this trip if I couldn't post it?
Yeah.
Like genuinely, like that sucks, but it's true. Like I think so much of what we do is for social media and not even a way of like, I want people to think I have a cool life. It's also the way that we connect with people. Like if
Mm.
I'm feeling lonely, sometimes I'll just post random things on my close friends story because I'm like, I need someone to see me. Like I feel lonely today, see me. And so yeah, I think um, traveling can take a toll on your body that you don't even
Oh
realize is
yeah.
happening. And that was like the biggest thing that was struggling for me. I think I was home maybe 40 days last year, if that. And I was just, and so like also, like, I'll be so honest, I'm a very, very long time around on my turnaround time right now because I was traveling so much. And so, like, but I don't work on travel days, but unfortunately, travel days are every day of my life at this point at the time. And so I I don't know. I also really, really like I used to live in Florida. I loved Florida. And a part of me like misses it so much all the
Mm.
time that I like can't get myself. I never had the capacity to let myself like Colorado. I just had this idea in my brain of like, no, I want to go back to Florida. And so I would just leave Colorado all the time. I wouldn't even just go to Florida, I would go anywhere. And so this summer I had decided like I was going to go to Europe and I was going to go to Costa Rica, maybe Guatemala. I was like planning all of these trips just for like doing something fun. And I was like, okay, I'm so stressed out. I don't know why I'm stressed out. Like, I know I have so much to edit. I am launching camp. We're doing all of these things, but like, what is like the main part of my stress? And like, Austin was always like, Lainey, what if you traveled less? I'm like, no, like, I'm not going to do that
Yeah.
because I make my money when I travel. And so I came to the spot of like, okay, what if I didn't have any money? And what if I stayed home for a minute? And like for a minute was even like a month because I hadn't done that in so long. And or like I didn't internationally travel for a long time this year. And so I canceled all my trips in June. And like the second I did that, I felt this just like
Mm.
I feel like I can be here. Like our relationship has been so much better. I've been been such a better friend to my people. I have so much more capacity because like if you dive into like the travel world, not even in photography, but in like travel influencers world, so many and van life, so many of them will say like it's living for self. Like
Yeah.
it's a really lonely life, unfortunately.
Mm.
Like, yeah, it's really cool and you get to see all these things and it's super fun. But like, if you're just traveling to like travel of just like, oh, I did this and I did this and I did this, like your community at home is suffering.
Mm.
Your life is suffering without even realizing it. Like, I think obviously going on trips or going on trips with your partner, like all of that is completely different. But just like going by yourself or even just with one friend and like, I'm going to work the whole time that alone, like I'm going to go to Europe and I'm just going to do a bunch of shoots. that can kill you. And it did me. Something that's really important to me for this year is like, if I'm going to travel, I want to enjoy it. Like, I don't want to like, okay, I'm going to Hawaii for 7 days. I can take 6 shoots. No, I'm going to Hawaii for 7 days. I can take 1. And taking the hit of like, okay, I'm not going to be the richest person, but like my life is going to be rich. And like that became the most important thing to me, was like, if I can still enjoy the lifestyle that I'm having at home, like with the money that I have at the time, then like not having all of this money is okay with me, and not being able to like do the most coolest opportunities anymore is okay with me. And maybe I'm saying this because I've experienced some stuff. And so I'm like in the way of like, I've already experienced this. I don't need it. But because I don't think I regret anything. Like, I'm not like, oh, I don't wish I didn't take that opportunity. Like, it got me to where I am now, which is this place of like, I'm okay being broke and being home, which I think like my life, I have chased contentment, and that can look like so many different things. And I've always said like, I just want to be at a place where I'm like, okay, I'm good with God. I'm good in my life. I'm good where I am. I'm happy wherever. And I think traveling can literally be the opposite of that. And like, not that traveling's bad. Like, it's great. And I've experienced so many things. And like, honestly, when I went to Dubai, my life changed like in such a great way. I came home and I was like, I feel amazing. I feel like my depression is gone. And that wasn't because of, I realized just some stuff about myself about traveling that I was like, oh, I really like who I am while traveling. Why can't I have the same version of myself at home? And so I started to do that work of like, okay, well, what is this specific thing about myself that I love? And like started to do that a little bit. And so, yeah, like traveling can be great. Go experience it. Love it. But I think the propaganda of like, you're not a successful photographer until you're like booking all these international weddings and you're doing this. Like, stop to think about like how lucky you are to like be at home. Like, have community, have routine, have things that you love doing. That's not like living out of a suitcase. Living out of a suitcase is probably the worst thing you can do for your mental health, and you don't even realize it because you're on like the dopamine of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to Paris tomorrow and I'm going to Rome and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And like, it can just kill you without even like realize that you're dying. So yeah, if you want to travel, think about it. Like, really take time to be like, okay, maybe I do one cool trip a year, and like, I'm still gonna travel. Like, I'm not being like, you're gonna see me on Instagram being somewhere else. Like, I'm not giving up traveling forever, but I'm making so much more time to be home. Or like,
Well, honestly,
more state travel.
Almost every photographer I've had on that is a travel photographer, and honestly, a lot of them are like teaching on being destination wedding photographers. Every time I've had them on, they're like, screw traveling, I hate this. But they hate traveling, but yet they are a destination photographer, you know? Like, this is like not just one person, this is like every single one. And I only say this because they've all admitted it, so it's not like I'm talking about them. They've all said it publicly on the podcast. They hate traveling, but yet they do it, and then they teach on people doing it and that they should do it. And I'm like, at least we're having some honest conversations on this podcast, at least, where we're being vulnerable to the fact that, like, in my opinion, it's not like the destination wedding is pay most of the time, probably 80% of the time, they're not paying you extra to travel. They're just paying for you to travel there and shoot the wedding. They're not paying you like $1,000 per day that you have to fly over there. You know what I mean?
Right. No, yeah.
Like, they're paying for your travel and the wedding. They're not necessarily paying
the extra
like a
travel
per
days
diem for all the extra stress it puts on your life and time it takes you away from your family, or your friends. So yeah, I don't know. If you want to be a travel wedding photographer and you're listening to this, do it. But like, be warned that how cool would it be to make that same cash in your hometown?
Yeah.
And then just go travel for fun. I've had so many people tell me, because they're like, Summer, you haven't like shot internationally that much. I've like taught internationally, and I'm still I would prefer to teach internationally maybe than shoot internationally. Just, I don't know, it just seems more fun. So anyways, I'm like, yeah, well, because like, unless they're gonna pay me out the wazoo, I would rather just go to Italy than go work my butt off in Italy with all this gear that I now have to haul all the way out there. It just, it doesn't align with the lifestyle I'm trying to build. Yeah,
in Italy,
I would rather like, just go have fun.
Yep. Because I think too, what's important with it is like, with the desire for it is like, well, I want that content just to have it. Like, and I get that. Like, I'm not going to do it at a discount. Many times.
everyone's like, "Summer, just discount it." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I would rather book one wedding here that'll make more than that wedding and then just go do something for fun over there." You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's what, yeah, like, I agree. But I think, like, when you book that trip to Italy, like, obviously still bring your camera and do, like, for me anyway,
Yeah.
I would do, like, a fun free shoot of, like, this set my
Yeah.
soul on fire. I don't have to give you the photos in a certain amount of time
And you
because
can
it
do
was
whatever you
free,
want.
and you can do whatever you want. Like, I agree. I agree with that fully. And I think too, where it also can get kind of messy, which I'm seeing on the internet a lot, is like people, like I said, like, I'm going to Hawaii for 7 days. I can do 6 shoots because, like, you just want this content, want this content. But, like, I think it is more important in life to have all of these memories that you made than, like, all of these photos, unfortunately. Like,
Mm.
I'm at that point of,
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna book 1, maybe 2. Maybe I'll do 2 really cool, fun, free shoots in Hawaii, and then the rest of the time I'm just gonna enjoy myself. But, like, put a lot of work into those 2 free shoots of, like, this is content I really want and something it's not just, like, a pretty couple who's running on the beach. No, I'm gonna, like, put my
Mhm.
heart into it of, like, no, this is really important to me. This meant be like this was worth it being free because I got to do something that I really wanted to do. I
Mm.
did, like, a Pirates of the Caribbean shoot when I was in Hawaii, and it was so much fun. We did, like, torches,
Cool.
we went through this huge cave. Like, you can dream big when you do, like, free shoots all the time. I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Yeah.
Summer, but yeah, like, I agree with you.
Well, no, I
Book
was like,
something
this
and
would be a
then
great
yeah.
segue into free shoots, and you just
Yeah.
did it without me having to say anything. What if you were talking to a photographer who was just starting and they were like, "What do you mean work for free?" Because I feel like if you're on, like, Threads or Reddit or anywhere that's honestly anywhere social media, you probably see a lot of things, photographers listening, that's like photographers either, like, not charging enough or devaluing the whole industry or, like, doing free shoots or style
Right.
shoots. There's so much tea around styled shoots these days. I do not care. I'm like pro styled shoe. I'm pro free shoe. I'm very
Yep.
pro things that light your soul on fire. And for most people, that's not only doing paid work. I feel like if you're an artist, you create for the sake of creating. That's
Yeah.
what being an artist is. And if the only time you're ever creating is to make mad money, then how are you truly creating your best work? I mean, you can, I guess, but it's not like say, like, when a painter's painting, like, if the only time they were painting was because someone commissioned them to do so, they would be so unfulfilled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Only doing work that the client is demanding how they're doing it, you know? So that would be so weird if the painter never just painted in their garage because they wanted to.
Yeah.
And so as photographers, why are we only working when it comes with a paycheck? So I want you to tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about
No,
your
I
thoughts
mean,
on
yeah.
that. Like, how have free shoots changed the game for you? You obviously would still do them today. If someone wanted to do a free shoot, but they were scared on, like, how to set it up, or they don't feel like they
Yeah.
know that many people in LA, I'm new to LA. I don't feel like I know that many people. How would you suggest maybe they go about finding couples and things like that? Because you just had something amazing happen to you on TikTok. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Getting into, like, first the finding. I think the first thing we always think to do is just post it on Instagram story. And it's like, hey, I'm doing a model call. Yesterday, for some very random reason, I saw this really pretty field and I was like, and I'm in an area right now where I'm, like, shooting way less. Like, I maybe shoot once a month, maybe, because I'm really trying to, like, protect my peace and, like, get a work-life balance. Because that's never something that I've ever had. And so I saw this field and because I've been, like, kind of disconnected from photography, not in, like, a unhealthy way, in, like, a very healthy way, actually. Where, like, my brain is not immediately going to this place of, like, I want to shoot, or, like, I went on a vacation with my best friend. We were in such a pretty place and I didn't think about it until, like, 3 days later. And I was like, Mackenzie, I didn't have the thought of, wow, I would love to shoot a couple here. And, like,
Yeah.
how healing that actually is. Like, if you've experienced that and, like, having, like, it's weird because I feel like it's almost like anxiety when you're, like, somewhere and you're like, man, I wish there was a couple here. I wish there was a couple here. And, like, you can't enjoy it. Like, Austin and I and my other really good friend Alex, we were in Lake Como and we were swimming. And there was this really cute couple and I didn't have my camera and I was really mad and I wouldn't stop talking about it for, like, a day. And I was like, what? That was stupid. Like, when I stopped to think about it, I was like, that's not that important. Like, I got to swim in Lake Como and enjoyed it for myself without having to, like, shoot it and need to post it and, like, want it to go viral. Like, that actually causes so much anxiety because then you're sad if it does bad, and then you're actually sad if it does really well, and then it stops doing well. Like it's a whole thing. Anyway, all to say I got off track. But
Free shoots.
yes. Why did I start talking about that?
I think you were eventually going to get to the TikTok model call that you just posted.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm disconnected from photography. So I have a lot to edit, and I've been editing a bunch. But for me to like feel like I need to feel inspired by what I'm editing, I also need to be doing shoots that light my soul on fire. And I like kind of close my books because I'm like, oh, I have so much editing to do. So I'm not booking really. Anyway, so I saw this really pretty field and I was like, well, I don't know. So I like where I go to look for people sometimes is TikTok. Like I'll type in, I'll be like, okay, living in Breckenridge. And so like I can maybe find someone who's like in that area. So then I was like, as I was finding people, I was like, what if I just did a video? So I made a video and I was like, hey, if you're in Colorado and you're in love, like I'm always looking to like expand my model list or whatever. What I did not expect was for it to have over 200,000 views with 5,000 comments and now over 350 messages. So very overwhelming. I'm very grateful for it. It's really cool. And a lot of it has turned into like people also being like, hey, I want to book you. Like, I know that you're obviously not going to do 5,000 free shoots. So like, how can I book you? And so I would say like, if you're looking for people to model for you, don't just go to Instagram because unfortunately the Instagram algorithm does hate a lot of people and it's not going to push your stuff. I think if you're also just like looking for someone, it's hard to just like go on Instagram and geotag and be like Breckenridge, Colorado, because so many of those people are just visiting and just tagged the thing. But TikTok is so much of like Instagram Reels can try, but it doesn't do well. And the SEO engine of Instagram Reels is not great. But if you go on TikTok and you like search and you're just like living in Breckenridge as a 22-year-old or whatever, you're going to find people that are making these reels of like, this is my life as a 22-year-old in Breckenridge, or like, this is my life as a 22-year-old in New York. I found a lot of my LA couples from that actually. And so I think before it even comes with like reaching out to anyone, I think finding people, like people don't think to do TikTok. And I'm like, that's actually one of the best social medias out there for so many things, for networking, for everything. Because people post their life there so much more casually than they do Instagram. And so then you can also find someone's vibe. Because like I'm also a huge believer in like, if you're going to do a free shoot, make it worth it. Like, yeah, this person could be like very pretty and that's really cool. But like, I want a couple that's going to fit the exact vision of the shoot that I'm thinking. And so like, I teach this a lot in my mentorships and I go over it. But like, I really think of it as like casting actors of like, okay, who's going to tell my story the best way? And like, there's some, not shame, but like sometimes guilt around the fact of like, well, I can't say yes to everyone and I feel bad and they really want to and like da-da-da-da. But it's like, okay, this is your art. Like you're the one who wants to make this. So like you can be so selective on who you're going to cast for it. And that's okay. And like, I think if you want to respond to everyone, be like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, and you can be nice about it. You're like, I don't know, ChatGPT if you want. I don't. But like, I've always just said like, hi, I've like already found a couple, but I think you guys are so cute, like whatever. And then, but like, I'm going to add you to my model list. But if not, like, here's my guide. If you want to book me, completely understand not. Because I'm also like, I don't know, it feels icky sometimes to be like, you reached out for something free, but here's how to pay me. But I think there's a way to do it in a way of just still being like, well, if you would be interested, I can't do it free, but if you want, here you go. Anyway, so I think using all forms of social media is a great way to find people without even posting a video. Like I found so many couples before I even posted a video. I just posted the video to make my job easier, which has now become harder because now I have to go through so many people. But I'm very grateful for it. And it's very cool. And I've decided now, like, I'm going to do this in every city that I do visit. Like, if I want to do one free shoot, it could even be like a really fun giveaway thing that I might start doing of like, hey, I'm giving away a shoot here. Like, follow me here. Like, I follow this guy. He does like 50 first dates, 51 dates in all of the states or something like that. And so he's always like, hey, comment your Hinge, like, or whatever. Not comment your Hinge, Instagram, or like, he just goes on all these states. You're like, I'm looking for a date in Indiana. Who wants to be my date? Like, whatever. And so I think it's also a really cool way to network now as well, that I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this now. And every city that I visit of like, hey, I'm coming to Austin, Texas for a day. I want to do one free shoot. Follow me. Like,
Yeah.
Yes, I know it goes against everything that I basically already said of like giving yourself time. But if you're wanting to network, if that's something you're wanting, if you're wanting to grow your Instagram, like that's going to be something I'm going to start doing. If you want to take the idea, go for it. I don't care. There's plenty of people to go around, obviously. Yeah. So I think,
Well, and free work changed your life and career because a
yes,
lot of your like most amazing viral shoots, a lot of those were shoots that you created for
yes.
yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was getting there. Sorry. I got
Oh, no, you're
sidetracked. I got
good.
excited about the TikTok. Yeah, no, I think it's unfortunate, but like I think 70% of what I post is probably my free work.
Mhm.
I still post my client work, but I don't know. I also like I have so much more pressure around client work that takes a lot more time to like edit that like I don't want to post any client work until it's like done, I guess.
Yeah.
And free work I can just kind of like da-da-da, this is fun and then like post it. Yeah, I so many of my shoots that are like my favorite thing that I've ever done have all been free. And I think too like where that's like not an issue because like yeah, like Summer said, like why are we just doing shoots that we're getting paid for? Like do something that lights your soul on fire. You're gonna be a terrible artist if you don't. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to do things that like oh, this brought my creative spark back. Even that's like attending a retreat. Like I mean, obviously there's so many things that happen at
You get
retreats
free
and
shoots made for you at Laney's
yes,
retreat.
exactly. Yeah. Come to Camp Cinematic. We'll light your soul on fire and you'll do crafts. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. It's true. Anyway, but yeah, like I think, and then being so specific, like, I mean, there's so much that goes into it when it comes to like planning a free shoot, when it happens to like observing and making the scene in your head, like whatever that is. And like one day the song that I was listening to on the plane, I saw the whole shoot and then immediately I saw the perfect couple for it. And I was like, oh, that's great.
Mm.
And like, and two, like I have gone up to random people all the time of like, hi, at church. I did it the other day. I was like, hi, you guys are really pretty. Do you live here? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, great. Can I have your Instagram? Like maybe you can model for me sometime. And I did it one time, and I specifically remember this because the guy's never that excited. But I was in Nicaragua with my best friend. She is at the time was like a travel influencer, so we were shooting for this hotel and it was Valentine's Day and we were in Nicaragua and I was like, I want to shoot here but like there's no one here. And then this like probably the prettiest couple I've ever seen in my whole life just randomly walks to the hotel that we're at.
Wow.
And because they were there for Valentine's Day dinner. And so I went up to him and I was like, hi. And so they were like, yeah, we'd love to. And the guy was like, I've always said, how cool would it be if this happened to us? And it happened to us.
Aww.
And he just messaged me the other day because he reposted them. It's been like a year since. And he was like, it was so fun to go through these a year later. Like, and I'm already I'm way more in love with her now than I was a year ago. Like, it's just such a cool blessing and gift to have these. And like, it was one of my favorite shoots too, because they're like, they live on Nicaragua. And so in Nicaragua, so they're like, they don't really have cars. So like, hey, we're going to pick you up on our dirt bikes. And we're going to go here and we're surf instructors. So then we'll surf here. Like, it was
A
so
dream.
fun. Yeah. Like, you never know if you just go up. Like, I didn't know they were about to be the coolest people ever. And so, yeah, if you just go up to people and you're like, hey, like, obviously suss out the idea of like, are they siblings? Are they not dating? Like,
So
I'll like
true.
listen and I'll be like, my normal first question will always be like, are you dating? And it's normally to the girl. So I don't want her to think that I'm like hitting on her person. So I'll always be like, you guys are really cute if you are. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of the shoots that I've done have been free and they've just lit my soul on fire. And like, you can create so much from it, like, and I think too, something that goes with it is like so much communication and expectation of the person who's modeling for you of like, hey, this is going to be a 5-hour shoot, unfortunately. Are you okay with that? And if you're not, then I'll find someone else. And that's just is what it is. Because like, I think even, especially if it's a friend, it's worth so much more than like to communicate than like ruin a friendship of like, hey, we actually ended up modeling for you for like 6 hours and we didn't get paid and we feel used. Like, okay, that's never happened. But like, if it did, make that expectation so clear, or pay them. But if you're not going to pay them, put the expectation out there of what this is going to look like. And I have said too, like, pick people that are excited about your vision as well. Because if they want to tell your story, they're going to be so into it. Like, if you're going to have a guy that's just like, then you don't want that. It sucks. And you're just sitting there being like, why am I doing this? I can't use this because this sucks. So yeah, I don't think you have to like hop on a call with them or anything. I've never really done that because it's not that deep. But you can tell the energy by like messaging someone, or if they like post reels together, like whatever it is, you can tell the chemistry. You can see how they're gonna be. Yeah, and so I think being like so specific with what you want is so important. And
Mm,
there's so many forms of social media to find people. Like there's so many people out there who are just so cool.
yeah, man. I did ask like strangers in the
Yeah,
beginning of my career a good bit, and maybe I just need to do it again because I was literally
you
telling Laney
should.
before this call, I'm like, I need to shoot in LA a little bit more. Like, it is life is harder with a baby, but I still need to shoot in LA a little more. And I think something about LA is holding me back. Something about there's so many creatives here, and there's so many rules and like stupid things. And I was telling her, I was like, well, in the beginning of my career, I wouldn't even have cared. I would have just gone and shoot. And you know what? If I got
Yeah.
in trouble, it's like the innocence and the almost like being naive is almost a good thing in the beginning. You just
Yes.
do things because you just don't
Yeah.
care. And I need a little bit more of that. But we asked, me and friends, we used to ask random strangers sometimes too when I first started, specifically one shoot in Bend, I remember, and it was super fun. And then one shoot, we were in Big Sur and we were like, we want to shoot. So we just like saw this couple, and it had turned out that he had proposed that morning. And I was like, what are the
Aw.
odds? Like, this guy had literally proposed that morning, and they were like, this is amazing. Like, what are the odds? And the only reason we ended up shooting them was because there was some wreck and we couldn't get to the couple we were supposed to be shooting. And we were like, well, we want to shoot. And we just
Yeah.
saw this couple like on a cliff, and we were like, hey, like, can you model for us? So yeah, it doesn't even have to be that deep. It could literally be you're like driving down a road and you see
Yep.
a cool couple. Like, just
Yep.
freaking do it. It'll be worth it. You never know what'll happen. I asked a couple to one more time. I went for sunrise. It was more when I was like kind of more in my landscapey phase, and we had hiked to see this beautiful sunrise. And I was like, you know what? Since I'm in this couple's photographer journey, there's a couple. I don't even care. Like, I don't care who they are. Like, I just need to take a couple photos. Kind of how you were saying. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm at this really cool place. Like, I just need to take a couple photos. And I asked them, and he was like, hold up, I'll be back. And I was like, where are you going? He like does the hike like 3 more times because I think he like went up, forgot something, went back. He
Oh.
comes back and he's like, can I see your photos? And I was like, why? And he was trying to figure out if I'm like actually good.
Right.
And he was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna propose. And I was like, hold up, I've only been doing this for like 6 months, sir. But I ended up shooting their elopement at the same place like a year
Aw,
later.
that's so sweet.
So you never know what'll happen. Sometimes
Yeah.
even asking a couple could lead you to paid work. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, totally worth it. Man, well, let's wrap this on up for everyone, even though I feel like there's so many more things I wish I could have covered. But
Yes.
again, everyone just needs to come to camp to pick your brain. But
Yeah, do it. Come to camp.
if you had to leave anyone on, if you had just one thing that you wish someone had told you when you started in photography, only one. Lady's like,
Okay.
wait, no, I'm gonna give you 20. If you had something that you wish someone maybe had told you, maybe it was, don't be scared of light, don't be scared of color, whatever it might be. If you had one thing for your career that you feel like really helped you, what do you wish someone had just told you?
Okay. Before I get into that, I want to say one more thing.
She's
You were
like,
talking
wait a
about,
second.
I wanted to say it. You were talking about like the permit thing and like so many rules in LA and all of the things. I think something too that I've learned is like art doesn't come from being safe.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so many times that I feel like I've broken rules that like no one really cared about, or like I was shooting at Griffith Observatory because it's my favorite place. I love La La Land, whatever. I really wanted to shoot like their dance scene when they're like standing in front of the clock and they're like this, and so I asked the security guard and I was like, "Hey, can we stay 1 minute after closing?" And he was like, "I will do my best. Like everyone
Oh,
has to leave at like 50 seconds, but like." Everyone, yes. And I was like, thank you. Like, you just never know. Like,
yeah.
obviously, that's not something that can really happen, but like, ask and just like push the boundaries a little bit. I don't think art can be made with being safe. I think you have to be pretty
Yeah.
unsafe and just like do things. Okay, back to that now, the question. Um, I think I would say that success looks different for everyone
Mm.
because if you're just starting out, I remember when I was starting out and I was like, I was in Indiana and I was like, I want to be in the group of Indiana photographers that are known. Like, it's so
Mm.
important to me being known. Like, I want people to know who I am. Or like, I want everyone to post my work on their story all the time and be like, I'm inspired by this. Like, because that's what the really cool photographers are doing and that's successful. Or like, I want to be booked out when people are posting like, hey, I'm booked out for the rest of the year, but you can book me for next year. And like, when you're first starting out, that's like, well, I'm booking maybe twice a year. Like, and that's great. And that should be celebrated. Like, I think comparison is the thief. I know comparison is the thief of joy. And so if you're just sitting here comparing your own journey to what everyone else is dealing with, like, that's stupid. Like, Summer was talking on Jai's summit in January, something like that.
Yeah,
recently.
something.
And you were talking about what luxury meant to you. And I loved that talk because you were like, it wasn't the price tag for me anymore. It became so much more. And like, of like people's lives, and like my own life was luxury. The money didn't matter anymore because I was missing out on time with my husband and my child. And so I think like really identifying what that means, like what does success mean to you, I think is probably one of the most important things when it comes to getting into the industry of like, okay, what do I want my walk to look like? What do I want my journey to look like? Like, I don't want to be published by every magazine. Like, you can go on Instagram all the time and you see people that are like, I was published in Vogue. And it's like, that's cool. How much work did that take? Like, to publish that and do that? Like,
how much did you spend?
Yeah. How much? Exactly. Like, so many things there. Like, okay, what is success to me? And then everything you do, like, I think that's the question you should ask. And then everything you do should be in the goal to that of like, okay, well, this is what success looks like for me. So that's what I'm going to work towards. And like, people are going to come to you. Cause I think this is the other thing too. Like, okay, here's one more thing. People are going to come to you because you're you. If you're trying to be everyone else, that's not special. That's just like, okay, well, this person doesn't know who they are. And so like, I don't want to book them, or I'm not drawn to their work. I'm not inspired by them. Like, if you're a photographer looking at another photographer who's trying to be everyone else, it's just like, oh, okay, well, they're not doing anything different. Like, I think what makes Tucker so special, and I think what makes Abby so special is like, their work is so uniquely them. Like, they have fully gotten into their own shoes of like, you can look at a photo of Abby's and I'm always like, oh, that's Abby. Like, can't even ask me twice. And I think that's something that's so cool. And so just being able to like be yourself fully and like that being success. I think that's like what makes a really good artist, is when you're so confident in your work and you don't want to be anyone else. That's where it's like, yep, I feel good. Well, that's what success looks like to me. But you can ask yourself what it looks like to you. But I think it
can look different for everyone.
100%.
You know? And if you don't know what that is, then you're not going to know how to direct your path. And if you're not going the right direction, it's going to take you a lot longer to get there. But, that was strange. That was like a little one-liner right there. Where did that come from?
That's the tagline.
That's the tagline, you know what direction you're supposed to be going. Anyways, this was so fun. I want to get you involved in summer school too, and I feel like you're going to. So anyone listening, if you don't know already, summer school, you're like, hey, I'm listening to summer school. No, this is the free podcast. But summer school is a community of photographers who are really fun and just really awesome people. And it's subscription based. So it's kind of like a really dope Patreon, because most people know what that is. But $40 a month, you get access to classes from guest educators, from me. You get access to like so many different areas of, there's like a show and tell group where people share their work and we all talk about it. It's so fun. And there's a help wanted board where if you're looking for a second shooter, you can post in it. So you can even like book work. Super fun.
I love that.
There is going to be a thing called Recess, which is like an exclusive version of the podcast. Oh my gosh, my camera died again. This is hilarious.
Yeah,
this happened with the last episode. This literally happened with the last episode. And since I'm wrapping up, I'll just throw the thumbnail over this for the YouTube listeners, because there is no reason to put the battery in, but this literally happened last episode right at the end. I need to get a video switcher. But anyways, everyone listening, don't mind my video tech issues, and I love you all, and you should join summer school and Camp Cinematic, and it's going to be such a good time. And thank you so much, Layni, for coming on. I love you guys.
Thank you. I feel so honored to be here.
This was so good. I feel bad that my camera just died, but anyways,
it's fine.
You guys, this was a rad episode, super vulnerable. And if you're still listening, thank you so much. And I will catch you guys next week. Goodbye, everyone.